Ulonkata bati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun ló fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Shango Èṣù, Ogun Ọya Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisha Bami, and today we are joined by none other than the Balogun Sango USA, Baba Oguntolu. Baba, what's going on with your Kabiesi?
Oh, Kabiesi, Kawo Kabiesi. I'm doing well. Ekale.
I say. That's what's up. Man, it's been a long time, Baba. We've had people on the channel reaching out, still commenting on the last time we did it. I think it was a few months ago last time I had you on here, man. But that episode's still getting love, and people still, reaching out and showing love and support to the message and to, the words of wisdom that you shared with the community. So, me, I'm always looking forward to chopping it up and making it do what it do. And so I couldn't wait to get this, to make it happen again with you back stateside to get this thing cracking and share some of that Balogun Ashe with us today, Baba.
Ashe. Yes. Well, I'm grateful to be back again. I did some prayers to the Divine Mother Oshun, who's my mother. Actually, I was given an Oshun name by the Oba of Oshobo, the King of Oshobo, Oshun Muni Rewa. So that's my Oshun name. Oshun brings Ire. So I have to start using that name more because, she's my mother. And, I'm very close to her. And prayerfully, she's very close to me as well.
I know that's right.
But I wanted to start today with reciting one of the wonderful Odus from the King of Ifa, Ogun. And Ifa says, I behave as my God creates me. I do good always, I am honest too. I do no evil, neither do I harbor evil thoughts, lest I die wretched. This is because whatever we initiate in our youth will persist until old age. These were the decorations of Ifa for Orumila and the 401 Irumile when coming from heaven to the world. Olodumare instructed them to do good always, but only Orumila applied honesty of thought to overcome all evil machinations. Ashe. So that Odu Ifa, of course, speaks about the honesty of thought. Honesty of thought, of course, is known as piety. Honesty of speech is truth, and honesty of behavior is righteousness. But, it's our thoughts that cause our suffering in life. It's the main cause of our suffering is our thoughts. So it's important for us to practice to learn how to control the mind, to control your thoughts so that you won't suffer as much. Now, of course, it may be easily said than done, but in actuality, practice makes perfect.
Facts.
Practice makes perfect. So we have to invest a lot of time and effort in practicing the honesty of thought, positive thoughts as much as possible. So then when negative thoughts try to introduce themselves, then you'll be so out of harmony that you'll know, wait a minute, I got to get rid of this because I'm not feeling right. So that's a very, very important teaching that many of the ancient masters, want us to grasp is how to control our thoughts. That's going to help us tremendously in replacing bad habits with good habits. And it's funny too, because really, I remember last year before we went to Nigeria, and you went with me as well. We went to Nigeria and Ghana. And, I remember feeling that it was something that I needed to know, something that I needed to look up and research. And so something had me look up human weaknesses. I wanted something that was common to all human beings all over the world. And so human weaknesses was what I thought of. And so I looked it up, and I'm sure it was like 130 plus human weaknesses. And I was like, my God, what a checklist. So, you got to go through all those human weaknesses like it's in the air. We're breathing it. We're breathing human weaknesses. And you can be on top of your game. You could be all prayed up and doing well that day. But tomorrow, you got to deal with the same thing. And you got to fortify yourself to not let negative thoughts and negative feelings and negative actions come back again and overwhelm you. So, it's constant work all the time. It's a journey that, every day is a new potential problem or potential adversity and obstacle. So it's a constant battle. And, there are many times where people come to the mat, and they'll say, why me? Why is this going on? Well, this is the nature of the universe. This is the nature of this physical plane that we're on. And so we all have to fight against the same things at different times, whether it be sickness one week, then the next week you're dealing with anger, then the next week and on and on and on, you see. And of course, it's intermittent between sunshine and rain, shall we say. You have good days and then you're going to have bad days, but nobody's going to have straight good days all the time. Just don't work like that, you see. So, we give thanks for the King of all Ifa, Jiogbe, and, the honesty of thought and the importance of training our mind to fight off negative thoughts on a regular. Ashe.
Yeah, nah, that's real. Listen, I had my own little challenge, little bout, that I got into a tizzy with on the way over there, man. Nigeria, that kind of that little. You talking about a test of character?
Yes.
And
that's right.
Yeah, that was a real true test. And in the moment, that fiery energy, that Kabiesi fiery, energy wanted to turn up and take off. But, luckily I was able to kind of listen to being a child of Orumila, and a child of Obatala, and let that energy kind of get me to guide me into a different position. And I just recall, like, even, after y'all had left and was already headed to Chicago, and then on your way over, I was in the room, in Atlanta. And I just remember, like, matter of fact, the book that you had let me borrow, man. This book right here, the Architects of Existence.
Yeah, Architects of Existence. Yes.
The Yoruba Cosmology, Ontology, and Orature by Teresa N. Washington. Powerful piece, man. And this piece is what kept me humble. It kept me grounded, and it showed me a lesson. So kind of like how Spirit led you to, look up the human weaknesses. I feel like Spirit kind of forced me or led me to that book, and I'm glad that it did, because that gave me a whole nother message and a whole nother perspective that I feel like it wasn't meant for me to make it on the continent until I learned, some of those lessons from Spirit, especially coming from the feminine energy. So, everything happens for a reason. I felt like, that was just that was the way it was supposed to be. So it is what it is at that point,
Yes. Well, you and Adiyinka Ipasanu, y'all did very well, because I had no idea what was going on inside of you. But I could just imagine. But, we've got to remember that there are major challenges when we go to the continent.
Oh, yeah.
And we're really replacing, problems over here in the Western Hemisphere with the problems on the continent.
Yep.
And it's often not a pretty sight.
Right.
We have all kinds of disappointments and upheavals and disrespect even.
Yeah.
Coming from our own brothers and sisters in Ifa on the continent.
Yeah.
And it's true, so the romanticism ends quickly.
Oh, yeah. I learned that quick, too.
It ends quickly, you see. And we realize, I'm so happy to be here. And then somebody come along and knock you upside the head and remind you,
man, listen,
that the human weaknesses exist all over this planet.
Yes.
You see. Sure. And when we think about it, we love Ifa. I love Ifa because Ifa filled in a void. It filled in a void for me, because to find a spiritual system and a spiritual practice that gave me the notion of why I'm here. Why was I born? What did I come to do? That's a very important question.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that many human beings ask themselves along the way.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So when we look at, even when you look at the name of Orimala, the blessed name of Orimala, heaven shows the way, or there are other ways to say it, heaven knows the way. We've been saying Orimala for long before we forgot the name of Orimala, here in the Western Hemisphere, because our parents, our grandparents, what did they used to say? Oh, only heaven knows, baby, what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Orimala. We were saying Orimala then, because heaven does know. And what is heaven but the astral world, the causal world? You see? That's what it is. It does know, because you can pick up that information out of the Akashic Records. You can pick up that information through divination in different forms of divination. It doesn't have to be Obi. It doesn't have to be Keen. It doesn't have to be Okwele. There are other spiritual systems of the Akan people, of the Dogon people, of the Sangoma. All of them pick that energy up as well. What's important is if you're gonna respond to it.
Facts.
Are you going to respond to what the spirit is advising you? And it's really just advice. You don't have to, because Ori is higher than all deities.
That part.
Ori is higher than all deities. So you ultimately make that decision.
Yes.
About whether you're going to follow the advice or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You see?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's real, and it's amazing, because that literally goes hand in hand with how the show last night ended with Baba Karade, which was a powerful show. He went in his bag again last night, man. Shout out to Baba Karade too, man, and shout out to the OGC Institute family. The links are up, and they should be up on the channel, I believe, and I'll be sharing them again in the community tabs and on the actual channel homepage as well for anyone who's interested and ready to sign up to the Institute. Shout out to Baba Karade. We launch it tomorrow at 7. But yeah, we went in last night on that, and it was like towards the end of the show too. It was dope, because he made that point of how significant. Actually, no, he started out by asking everybody, like, do they believe that the body is an Orisha? And then I can't remember like what the responses was or what have you, but either way, he went into it, and he was just like, the body is an Orisha, and then he went ham with Ori. I'm not even gonna try to recall everything he said, but it was dope though. But it really literally went hand in hand to everything you just said, and it's like, I've told you on multiple occasions, I've told him too, y'all remind me a lot of each other. Y'all have a lot of similarities in regards to, not just your path and the longevity and the time that you've had in the culture of Ifa initiation, but also the impact that you had on so many different people. And then even like their personalities, I feel like are very similar too. So it's funny to me when I hear certain things from both of y'all that remind me of the other.
Well, he's much cooler than I am. He's cool. He's cool. That Obatala comes through. My Ogun and now my Shango comes, you know what I'm saying? But his Obatala comes through. It does.
Look, you can see that. You can see that if you want to, but look, I'm gonna start sharing them videos with the tribe from Africa when they see you in every one of them doggone fits and see you there.
Well, look, I want to say this. I love Africa. I love Nigeria. I love African spirit. But I'm African Babalaos and Orisha priests. They can do better. They got to do better. Else we ain't gonna want to come no more. That's the truth.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna want to come no more if they be treating us like they have been treating us.
Yeah.
Now, there are many that treat us with kindness, but I'm telling you, it's running a close 50-50, baby. And they got to improve too. Yeah, we got to improve over here. We got a lot of stuff we got to improve. But everybody who's practicing Ishesha in Nigeria are not wonderful. And they got to change. And we've got to help them change by letting them know what's wrong. Because sometimes they don't even see it.
Yeah.
They don't even see what they're doing wrong.
Nope.
We have to improve Ishesha. It's all of our responsibility. But they cannot negate that we see things that they don't see.
That part. Yes, sir.
Because if you've got Ifa, you've got Orisha tradition that's been there for untold centuries, if not thousands of years, and you still doing BS?
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You still treating people cruelly or scamming people for money? Come on, man.
Yeah.
See? So if we're following Ifa, Ifa is supposed to improve our lives as well as pitch us inwardly so that we begin to work on ourselves, on our spiritual growth, on our become inspirational and the way we express the Orisha qualities. But if you don't do that, I don't care how much you know. I'm not impressed. I'm impressed only by how you treat people. That's what impresses me. Because that's the goal, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Ifa says the goal is not to be religious. Religion is not the goal. The goal is Iwakwele. That's the goal. And once again, human weaknesses come into view. So the African American Babalawos and Ifas and Orisha people, yeah, we got human weaknesses too, but so do they on the continent. They ain't no better than we are. They're not.
Yeah.
We got to call a spade, so we all got to do better.
Yeah.
But we cannot be impressed with people's titles and their knowledge. It's not what you know. That's what the teacher taught me. He said, it's not what you know, it's how you glow.
Yes, sir. I love
that. That means you got light in you.
Yes, sir.
And if you want to represent Orumila, if you want to represent the Orisha, then you need to pick up your game, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Because we calling you out now. Now, when I was a young man, I was scared to call them out. I ain't scared no more. You see?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to take nobody to Africa and have them upset because people treated them wrong.
Yeah.
Or treated them with disrespect.
Yeah.
Now those days are over with.
Yeah. We got to do better. Like,
we got to do better.
Yeah.
On both sides of the water. When a lot of our counterparts from the continent come here, we roll out the red carpet for them, baby.
As it should be.
They better roll out the red carpet for us too.
I know that's right. I should.
Reciprocity is the name of this tradition. Reciprocity. Make us feel welcome on the motherland. Practice it. Get better at it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
but
real.
Don't use us and don't think we coming over there and our ancestors are weak and they don't see what's going on. Come on. So we want transparency. We want people to behave in a way that brings honor to our spiritual tradition. That's our responsibility, and nobody gets away with it because spirits see everything.
That part.
Spirits see everything. I remember many years ago, I had a young lady come to me for divination. And she sat beside me, and her boyfriend had passed away like 2 weeks before that. And so we're sitting there, and she said, "Oh, my boyfriend's sitting beside me. He wanted to ask Ifa a question." Now, he in the spirit world.
Wow.
And he went to consult Ifa.
Listen.
So that's what I'm saying. Spirits are active. They're all around.
Yeah.
They know what's going on. They see what's going on. And even the clients that come to you, they can read you, baby.
Yeah. Man,
they can read the Ifa priests. Because you have no idea what kind of Eguns they got walking with them. What kind of deities are whispering in their ear.
Last night after we did the live stream, it's funny after, and then we got done late too, but I had a client that I had to do a divination for last night after the live because I was supposed to do it like a day or two ago, but a bunch of stuff came up that kind of messed it up where I couldn't do it, but I was like, I'm gonna get it done, I just wanted to make sure I got it done. So long story short, that person was telling me that, that there was ancestors that, they've had multiple experiences with, in the spiritual realm. And I'm like, yeah. And then even the one I did the day before that was a child who I feel like is like a medium, you know what I mean? Like someone who can see, spirit and communicate with spirit. So it's like, it's very, very powerful, a very powerful thing that a lot of people at this point have that
Our
ability.
people got Ashe, baby.
Yeah, that's real.
We got Ashe. And
Yeah.
you ain't got to be initiated in no system.
Nope.
You brought that Ashe, it's embedded in your Ori when you came here, maybe from previous life experience or whatever.
Right.
So when a lady comes and see me and she's sitting on the couch by the mat and she says to me, oh, the mother's whispering something in my ear, but I can't understand what she's saying. And then 30 seconds later, she said, oh, your grandmother just walked in. And I'm like, well, what is she doing here seeing me? Why? If she got that kind of intuition, that kind of insight, but she didn't come to see me. She came to consult Ifa. And that's what we have to remember. We are representatives who are sitting in for Orumila. We are not Orumila.
Yes.
You see? We interpret what Orumila is putting in front of us for the person, for the client.
Yep. Yep.
So we need to get rid of this big head stuff.
Yep.
And know that when people come to consult Orumila, they're coming to consult you, they're coming to consult Orumila.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you are not, that's why the importance of the purification of the heart is the top priority. Being transparent and being real, because you can't hide nothing from spirit. You can't hide nothing. They see everything. They know all things. And so when somebody comes in and they look at you, they can like, oh, this Ifa priest, he got this going on. So they can tell, they can read you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They read you behind without an oracle.
Yeah.
Without an oracle.
It's definitely real.
You see? So that's what my teachers say, oh, Odu Olofin, when you receive Odu is there to whisper in the Babalao's ear what he may not see on the tray.
Yeah. And like you said too, it depends on your Ashe and how you're attuned to it and how you tune it up and how, how you work with your own inner self and your Ori, because a lot of times when I'm doing it, I see the message that, falls when the Odu falls. But like you said, there's a lot of times where I intuitively, inherently get messages that goes right along with it, or that might not even be a part of the Odu of what fell, but it's part of the message that's, that was supposed to be intended and delivered for the client. And that's one of the number one things that I try to share with people who I work with too, like who have the gift or who might already be, initiated or whatever the case may be. I'd be like, you got to trust that intuition, because I'm telling you, even if it's something that seems like it's off the wall, came out of left field or from another solar system, it might seem that way to you, but it's not about you. It's about the message that goes to the other person. Because there's been times when I've seen that was like, nah, this ain't right. But that voice, like you said, that spirit, that communication was like, no, you need to say that. And then I mess around and say it, and sure enough, they knew exactly what it was about. I'm like, damn. But like, and every time that's happened, when I say whatever it was, I'm thinking not to say, they're like, nah, you need to say it. And sure enough, it resonates precisely with the person that's receiving the message.
That's right. It's wonderful because that explains the divine purpose of Odu in the Ifa priest's life. All right. Is that your Oluwo, your godparent, or even other Ifa priests teach you the practical aspect of how to do Ifa.
Right.
But the true spirituality is a divine feminine force.
Yes, sir.
You see, that intuition is more of a feminine energy in terms of the divine feminine energy, which, the divine feminine energy controls the spiritual world. Divine masculine energy basically controls the physical world. But, there was a saying I heard the other day, and it said, a man can break a woman's bones by force, but a woman can destroy a man's destiny.
Yeah, that's real.
That's real. And that leads me into the wonderful Odu Ifa Ogbe Alara Ogbeltra, which I love so much. And that Odu Ifa talks about the time that Orunmila woke up one morning and he was feeling a little melancholy, and he went outside and he looked around and he was watching human beings move here and there. And he wondered why the world was in such a dichotomy, why it was so many opposites. Some people were loved, some were hated, some were kind, some were cruel. Some women had spouses, some did not. Some people were wealthy, some were poor, and on and on and on. So he decided to go to one of his students that he had trained in the art of Ifa divination. And the student divined for him. In the Odu Ifa, we call Ogbe Otra, Ogbe Alara came. And the student said, "Oh, Remila." He said, "You want to know what the secret of the world is, don't you?" And Roma said, "Yes." He said, "Well, look, you're going to find out what it is. And it's going to help you tremendously in your life, in your work. You'll be well known for good works and things all around the world." He said, "But you got to sacrifice a goat. And you got to take the intestines out of the goat, clean the goat up, cook the goat, invite people to come and eat, and feed the people in the town. Then you're going to take the intestines and you're going to take it to the forest and put it by a big tree. And, of course, you got a lot of kinds of trees, but, one thing that at least I was taught that the female tree is the best one to put it by. The female tree is going to be one that has several branches coming out of the trunk, at the bottom, they split up like they're multiplying. Where the male tree is a tree that kind of just shoots straight up in the air like a palm tree or what have you. But the female tree has several trunks coming out of the bottom.
Yo, that's dope. I was going to ask you, you know what? I was going to ask you how do you determine which one was which, but man, listen, so you got a dope female tree in the back of your compound, man. I don't know, like I went out there when I was up there the last time, and I was just walking around in the back, in the woods, and I saw one of the trees you have in your yard where the tree, like the main bottom of the trunk, that thing split, and then it had like almost like my chair, like in the bottom of that.
Yeah.
I've never seen. I don't know if I ever seen a tree. I'm like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
I took a picture and everything.
That's right.
Wow.
Yes, that's an amazing tree, and I use that often for mothers. Yes.
Wow.
So Rimila took and he placed the intestines, the raw intestines, at the foot of the tree, and he was told to sleep there during that night. And so he pulled out his blanket, and he laid down and he went to sleep. And around 2:00 in the morning, he heard a noise that startled him, and he got up and he hid in the bushes nearby. So it was a full moon that night, and he can see the silhouette of this human being coming through the forest. So as it got closer, he realized it was a woman, and she was nude. So she walked over to the tree, and she started eating the intestines. And then she called out Orunmila's name. She said, "Orunmila." But Orunmila was afraid, so he didn't answer. He was like, in his mind, he was thinking, "How did she know I'm here? And how did she even know my name?" So she called his name again. She said, "Orunmila, I know you're there. Come out." So Orunmila cautiously came from behind the bush, went out in front of her, and she turned around and she looked at him. She said, "Orunmila." He said, "Yes." She said, "You want to know what the secret of the world is?" Orunmila said, "Yes." She says, "The secret of the world is women." She said, "Never look down upon or take for granted any woman, no matter how small or unimportant she may seem to be, because the love or the hatred of any man depends on a woman. The fame or the shame of any man depends on a woman. The wealth or the poverty of any man depends on a woman." And on and on and on. So it all depends on how women feel about you, because they can send you a legion of angels and deities to protect you and to uplift you, or they can weaponize those feelings and send a missile to destroy your destiny. That's why it's so important for you, if you can. It doesn't happen all the time. It can't happen all the time for whatever reason. Is to know that the mother, your mother, is the throne that you sit on. The lap of your mother is your throne, because the most important relationship, at least my teachers have said to me, taught me, the most important human relationship, the strongest human relationship in this world is between a mother and her sons. Not her daughters, her sons. Because every mother wants her son to be the king. She wants him to excel. She wants him to to live a meaningful and purposeful life. And even so, you'll see that in many, many motifs around the world. Where, you see it in Christianity, where they got Jesus sitting on Mary's lap. You see the Black Madonna with Jesus sitting on the Black mother's lap. Because the mother represents the throne that the son sits on. And she will do everything for her son. Even put her husband aside or her man aside. She'll do everything for her son under normal conditions. There's some abnormal conditions out there where, mothers are not doing for their sons, but under normal circumstances, it's the relationship between the mother and the son is the main one, baby.
Yeah.
And I've seen it.
Me too.
And I remember you would say, yeah, I'm a mama's boy. And I said, oh, God, he got a throne to sit on.
Proud of it too, brother.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Look, it's
Yes,
a beautiful thing when you have a wonderful mother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because all mothers are not wonderful.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
As much as I would want that way, they're not.
Yeah.
And they put their daughters through hell.
Mm.
And they'll put their sons to hell too. Why? Because maybe of their trauma. Maybe they say hurt people, right?
That's so real. Oh my God.
You see?
Yeah.
Hurt people. But the wonderful thing is that the formula or the medicine is that men should see the importance of treating women well.
Right.
If you treat women well, you're going to get the best companion that you would ever want. You'll get the kindness, you'll get the sweetness, you'll get the femininity, you'll get all that you want if you treat her well.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't treat her well, if she's not treated well by her father, her brother, or what have you, or her cousins or whatever, you may get a monster.
Yeah.
A narcissistic monster, a cruel woman.
Yeah.
That's like when Yoruba say the women are like a bird inside of a calabash. You don't know what kind of bird is in that calabash.
No. And that's when you can get the destructive force too that I don't want no problems with. I don't want none of that.
None at all. That's why you gotta appease the mothers. You don't fight them. I remember doing some work for a young man once. And that night, the EIME came to attack me. Because they were like, you can't interfere with what we're doing to him. In other words, you done got him our way. And you ain't even supposed to help him because we attacking him. Because he got some karma he got to pay. And so that happens sometimes. That's why it's certain Odu Ifa that you recite so that you don't get attacked because of you doing this work for this person. There's certain Odus for that.
Yeah.
So, it's a very messy world.
Oh, yeah.
It's messy, baby.
Yes, sir.
Damn sure. And you're required, according to many of the ancient teachings, you're required to save 2 people in your lifetime. That's the minimum. for you to ascend to a higher spiritual plane. If you can say something, do something, whatever, for two people to change the trajectory in their life from negative to positive, then you will ascend to a higher level. So you're not just here for yourself to have a good time. You've got to touch other people in certain ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they have to be meaningful ways.
Yeah.
That's a requirement by many of the ancient teachings, you see.
Yes. And you know what, too, Baba? I want to shout out to Astarius too, because he shared something with me with one of the sessions I had with him, where he was saying even if it's to a point where the person or the people that you're trying to pour into and that you know that you're doing your best to do, like you said, to transform their reality or their situation from negative to positive, even if they're not receptive to it, even if they don't take it and they don't, want to use the knowledge or the wisdom or the tools, whatever it is that you're trying to pour into them, he said, give it anyways. He said, because what happens is you're doing your part, so your credit score with the universe is going sky high, and you're doing what you're doing to fulfill your destiny, your Ori, your your action. And even if they don't at that time, later on down the line, it could be in this lifetime or maybe in 20 different lifetimes from now. Eventually get that ashe that you was given to them, and then they can then cash that check in regards to the blessings or the ashe that you were giving them, and then you both of y'all reap the benefits and the rewards of what you did to pour. That's dope. And that's real too.
That's true. It's a great teaching. He's a great teacher.
Yes,
you know. And you're right, because we don't know that, it is said that when you're looking at a person, when you're looking at someone, you're really looking at a wave, frequency.
Yes.
And that frequency is molded and changed based on its activities that's coming, the activities and the environments that it's going to be in, and it's going to change. Look, you ain't the same person you was 10 years ago, are you?
Not even close. 5
Your
years
frequency
ago.
has changed.
5 months
everybody has an opportunity or will have an epiphany in some way that's going to give them a chance to change that wave, that wave of energy at some point along the way. So we can't expect somebody at 20 to, that their wave will be prepared to move in a very positive, constructive way, that maybe a 30 or 40-year-old, has come, because all those experiences, both positive and negative, shape us into who we are today.
Yes, sir.
Life is a series of memories.
Yes, sir.
It's a series of memories of things that we've done and places we've been. Yes.
Sir. No, that's facts. Baba, I know we got a couple of topics that we definitely wanted to hit tonight, but one of the ones that I don't feel like I've done, I won't say I've not done, but one of the ones that hasn't been expounded upon as much as I would like for is the Iyami, is the IJ and the mothers. So for those who are like brand new, because I remember even like either yesterday or a couple of days ago, I think they came up in a divination I was doing, and the person didn't know who they were. So I did my best to explain who the Iyami were, and for the sake of time. But can you kind of just, for those who are listening who might not know or never heard of the Iyami, who are new, because we got people at all phases of their path. We got some people been around for 5, 10, 20, 30 years that watch, and we got some people might be brand new 5 months, or 5 years that might be just still learning. Can you kind of share just a little bit of the significance of who and what the Iyami are, the mothers?
Well, I'll tell you of experience I had in Oakland, California, when I used to live out that way.
Okay.
And I was invited by this priestess of Oshun. She's very well known. One of the most intelligent women I've ever met. Her name is Louisa Tish.
That's the first.
And she wrote, she wrote Jambalaya.
Jambalaya, yeah, I got that.
Yeah. And she invited me to an event called, I think it was called the Million Women's March. It's like an annual event that was held in Oakland, back in that time. I think this was like 2017, 2018, maybe. And I went to the program, and it may have been 1,000 people there. And I swear it was only like 3 men. So what you had women and teenage girls and young girls from all over the planet who were telling their stories about abuse and the cruelty that the male dominating society on the planet, what they do to young girls and teenagers and women. Oh, let me tell you something. Ifa Bemi, Orisha Bemi, Jagun Shango USA. I tell you, I like to cry. When you heard them girls' stories, especially them young girls, it would bring tears to your eyes. I was looking around, I said, this room should be full of men. So they can be reminded of the cruelty that they put on children, because that's the Iami, they're mothers. And what do mothers, they say, what's that term they use? Hell knows no fury like a woman scorned.
Yes, sir.
Mess with their children, baby.
Oh, none of it.
Mess with their children and you'll see a whole nother energy. And that's what the Iami, that's why all the stories, many of the stories in Ifa talk about the anger of the Iami. It has to do with the way we treat children. That's what it has to do with. The way we treat children. That's the most important thing you need to know. And if you want to be in harmony with the Iami, treat the children well. They will support you. Treat our women well. I mean, look, nobody's perfect.
Right.
And then some of these women, have their own issues and trauma and problems too. Yeah. But don't take advantage of the fact that you have physical power. You see, to subdue them. This is why the Iami is present in this world, because this stuff is going on all over the planet in every culture, every spiritual system. I don't care what you call the religion, what religion you say you follow or tradition you follow. You the problem.
You're not gonna win without
like what we say. The problem is not Islam. The problem is Muslims. The problem is not Hindus. Hinduism. The problem is Hindus. The problem is not Christianity. The problem is Christians. The problem is not Ifa. The problem is Ifa people. We're the problem. So we have to resolve these issues and pitch ourselves in, because our spiritual system is supposed to pitch us inward toward cleaning and purifying the heart. And raising those chakras up into the northern regions of the brain eventually. That's what it's supposed to do. That's why I love the Odu Ifa Ikao Torah, where it talks about Orumala became perfect through meditation. And people say, oh, well, meditation ain't got nothing. Well, that's not what I was taught. I was taught that the elders on the continent, and still do, they meditate. But they don't call it that. I mean, I've heard people explain it as dynamic relaxation.
I like that.
Dynamic relaxation. And these great awos and yanifas or whatever, they don't even come out no more if they get a certain age. But people go and see them. And when they go and see them, they feel this energy of peace and harmony. I felt it before. Look, when I went out to Oakland, California, and I went out there and I met Baba Ifa and the other Babalawo, who was his teacher, Ifa Bemi, who was trained in Ijebu. I mean, these guys was in their up 80s then, and I was just hitting 60.
Wow.
You see. But when you walked into the presence of their shrines and in their presence, all you felt was peace. It was a wave there, a certain frequency there. And I remember I walked into Baba's temple. I said, Baba, I don't want to learn nothing else. I don't want to read another book. I don't want to read nothing. I don't want to know nothing. But I want to feel everything. because that's what you'll eventually get to. You'll
Mm.
get to a point where you want to feel it.
Yeah.
Because knowledge can get stuck in your head, but the feeling is in your heart.
Yes, sir.
And when you leave here, all that's in your head is not going to go with you. But what's in your heart is eternally with you, because that is your frequency. That is the energy within you, that harmony within you. You're harmonizing your feelings. That's the most wonderful thing in the world, is to have a feeling. How you feel is success. That's what you're looking for. Your success is a feeling. It's not what you own.
I know that's right.
Know that.
Yeah.
You know, they say when you leave this world, it's not what you don't take what you have, you take what you gave.
Yes, sir.
And what makes you give is your feelings.
And that reminds me, there's another dope quote you be using too. I can't remember what it was. Something like we acquire and attain all this knowledge and wisdom just to give it away. Something like that. But you said it in a different way. But I love that.
Yeah, that's the definition of the morning, afternoon, and evening of your life. You know, that Ifa says, you know, the morning of your life, you're really trying to plant your feet on this earth and kind of, accustom yourself to how the world is. Then that's from birth to 28 years old. And then from 29 to 56 is the afternoon of your life, which is, that's when you're supposed to find your gift. Right. Whatever your gift is, that's when you're supposed to be producing or building your empire. That's the meaning of life. So the afternoon of the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life, which is from 56 on or 57 on, is to take your gift and give it away. You know what I'm saying? That's the purpose of life, is to turn around and give away what you have learned.
Yes, sir.
What you have built. Then that's when you're supposed to share it. And really, I look at it, they say it's the golden age, that I'm in now, but it's like when you look at Oshe is the priestly term for Oshun. It means to give. And the symbol is an open hand. That's Oshe. To give. And when you at the top of your Oshun game, that's what you do. You give.
Sure.
You give. And there's one Orisha priest who I've loved ever since she was a little girl. I hope she don't be annoyed that I'm talking about her now. Her name is Oshun Tinibu.
I met her. Didn't you introduce me? I think you introduced me.
Yeah. She's here in Atlanta.
I gotta get her on here too.
Oshun Tinibu has given her life to everybody, from children to the elderly. At her own demise, in terms of, her health and everything, this girl keeps going. And we pray for long life for Oshun Tinibu. If you can hear me, baby, for long life, because I've watched her give. I've watched her give to families. Atlanta is that place where, whole families are involved in the tradition. People bring their little children, and not just for the rights when they're a newborn. They bring their 4-year-olds. They want to read for their 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's wonderful too, because you got grandmothers, grandfathers, daughters, cousins. Everybody's involved in the spiritual tradition here in Atlanta as like families.
Yeah.
I think that's what distinguishes Atlanta.
Yes.
Because many of us, we got into the tradition. None of our relatives came with us.
Yep.
We came alone. And of course there are those who was born into it and what have you. They bring their children and everything, but that's another dynamic. But the majority of Orisha people, I believe, in this country, our families are not deeply involved in what we do. We're individuals in it. But that's the process of the growth aspect of Orisha in the Western Hemisphere and in America in particular. You see, so it's changing. It's changing. At one time, the tradition was filled. Everybody was initiated, and I used to say to myself, "Damn, it's like going to church and everybody sitting in the audience is a minister." That stuff wasn't. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah. All Indian.
But what happened was the Orisha was preparing us for the masses.
Yes.
They were preparing us for the masses. They say, "Oh, you're going to need more priests to do the work and to assist people and to heal people."
Sure.
And that's why I came up with the term therapriest.
I love it.
Yes, with therapriest.
Because we got a listener, at least one I know for sure. One of our tribe members, Queen. She's a priestess. I think Yemoja, but she said that too. I said it one time. Like, I got to give you your credit. I said, because I got that from Baba Tolu, but I don't steal people's stuff without giving them their props.
Yeah. Well, look, there's nothing new under the sun, so I'm sure somebody uttered that before me. I just don't know them yet.
I ain't never heard it. So I'm gonna give you your props for that.
I'm saying, well, maybe it was some Egun that made me say that, probably.
Hey, I don't know. Yes, sir.
Yeah. But, giving is important. We're at a stage now where we need to give and we're making sacrifices. And I use Oshun Tinibu as an example, but there are many others too. There are many others who have that kind of heart. Because everybody doesn't have the same heart as you do. And, sometimes it's a bitter pill to swallow when, you have higher expectations and, they're not met. But, we have to realize that everybody's not going to have the same heart as you do.
Nope.
Yeah, that's just how that go.
Yeah. Everybody ain't gonna move with Iwa Kwele or move, in the same light or the same, ways in which, we do. And that's something I'm learning too. You talking about not being the same from 10 years ago. Like I try not to be the same from 10 days ago because I'm not now, but I'm not lying either, man. I'm telling you, me and shout out to the new Oloye Fayinka, man. Me and him was talking the other day. I had a real good conversation, and I was just telling him. Well, I always tell like how I can't wait till I can get to the point where I'm unbothered like you. I said, man, Baba, the most unbothered person I know, boy. I could tell him all kind of stuff be going on. He'd be like, "Oh, okay, all right then, all right." I said, boy, I can't wait till I can get unbothered like that, boy. Well, all that stuff get me into busy, boy, for real.
Yeah. Well, I think that comes from my family influence. My grandmother, I remember my grandmother used to tell all of us, she said, "For heaven's sake, baby, let it go." That was this, and I'm sure many grandmothers all over the world say that. Baby, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. So that's how we have to do it, because it's not, they said if the alligators ain't running up in your yard after your children, trying to eat your children, you ain't got really no real problems. You know what I'm saying? Of course we got our health issues. Our health is a major thing. Because there's a book called The Disposition of the Sick. I remember I brought it at this bookstore called Everyone's Place in Baltimore, Maryland, my hometown. And that book talks about when people are ill, they're normally they're most of the time not themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Because they may have fear, they may have worry, all these kinds of things about the illnesses that you have. And it's serious,
Oh, yeah.
It can be very serious.
That's just like if you break down the word disease, phonetically it's dis-ease. So anytime you dis and you ease, you're not balanced, everything flowing right. Yeah, you're gonna be a little snappy or a little, like on edge or mad or angry, whatever, because even if you don't know what's going on internally, or what be spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, whatever, if there's dis-ease, then more times than not, you're not gonna be functional, or functioning at your highest capacity or highest frequency. So that's real.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what's up.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Man. So, go ahead.
No. You can go on and talk. I wanted to talk about the journey. The journey that I had followed. To get where I am today. But that may be another show because I don't think
No,
we
no,
have
we
enough
got
time.
time. That's what I was gonna get into because I know we was gonna hit that, and then we was gonna
Okay.
talk about the like the magical and mysterious aspects of spirit and the spiritual world, which I know you
Yes.
got
Yes.
a ton of
Yeah.
stories, and I got my
Oh
fair share
yeah.
too. So we definitely can get
Yes.
into that. Yeah, the
That's
journey,
right.
man. For those who are new to the channel and never heard, seen you or listened to you yet, can you share with them your journey and how you got to become the Balogun Shango USA amongst many other chieftain season titles
Well,
that you
yeah, well, that happened like 50 years later after the journey started, you know. But I think the real journey started when I joined the United States Air Force,
Hmm.
and they assigned me to a flight crew, and I was stationed in McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey, and I remember traveling to Europe, and we would go to Greenland and Iceland, and we would go to Iran at that time because Tehran used to have a very good relationship with the United States, you know, and the Shah of Iran had this big giant jumbo 747 used to land at McGuire Air Force Base, and then all of his wives and friends would go to Walmart, and they come back and they load that plane up and they go back to Iran. But I know he had other business, but I'm just laughing at that's a fact, that we used to see that. And then sometimes he would leave and he would carry a whole airplane full of Alpo dog food, of all food for his royal dogs in
Wow.
Iran. So
Baba,
I
is McGuire Air Force Base in Jersey?
huh?
Is McGuire Air Force Base in Jersey?
Yes, in New Jersey,
I've been
Wrightstown, New
there
Jersey.
before. I was a
You
little
know the
boy. I
place?
remember going. Yeah, I've been there before. I was little, man. My
Yeah,
step was in the Air Force as well. I remember. I think we was traveling from
yeah,
back home up down to Florida, and we stopped in McGuire.
yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so the big change came for me when I had a mission one day that was going to Keflavik, Iceland, and Thule, Greenland. And I didn't want to go because I've been up there before and it's minus 58 degrees below zero. So, you would have your gloves on, you would touch the metal on the plane and your hand would freeze to the plane, So I didn't want to go up there. But I had a roommate from North Carolina. His name was Charlie Bass. Charlie Bass was having a family reunion, and the family reunion was happening at a time when he was going to Europe. He was going to Spain to this military base called Torrejon. Torrejon military base is right outside of Madrid, and we used to go there and watch the bullfights and stuff. I was a young man; I could have been 20 years old at that time. But anyway, I say all that to say was that Charlie Bass asked me to switch with his. So I take his mission to Spain, and he take my mission that was going to Greenland. So of course I agreed. So I went to Spain. I came back, and I noticed that my door was open in the barracks because we had a room together. And I walked in the room, and there were two military officers cleaning out Charlie Bass's locker. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? They said the plane that I was supposed to be on, that Charlie Bass took the mission, crashed and killed everybody on board. And that's the mission that I was supposed to be on. So it was a great tragedy, a lot of grief. And I made the decision then because I also lost other good friends on that flight too. The flight engineer as well, Carlos Perez, good friend of mine, and some others. And so that's when I asked for a transfer to Charleston, South Carolina. And I wanted to go to Charleston for several reasons, but the main reason is because Charleston had a different theater of operation. In other words, where McGuire Air Force Base, our military command went to Europe, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, all those Bahrain, all those countries, and also Iceland and Greenland. Well, the Charleston Air Force Base went to South America. They went to Brazil and Ecuador and Peru and Paraguay and Uruguay, all these wonderful places that I never even knew existed. And they went to Africa too, including South Africa. So when I got to Charleston, South Carolina, I was like, interested in going to South Africa, which interesting was right around the time that I discovered that there was an African village in Sheldon, South Carolina called Oyotunji. And I had a friend who took me there where I got my first divination and all of that. So I wanted to go to South Africa. You know, of course, I didn't even know about apartheid at that time. I didn't know anything about Nelson Mandela either. I was a young man, didn't know anything about world politics. So I remember them giving me basically the stiff arm, you know, like they didn't want me to go. But it was like, well, why? All the other, load masters, because that was my military identification and my career field, you know, they were going. So why couldn't I go? You know, so in other words, all the Europeans were going, all the, the white guys were going, but I couldn't go. So I went through the Babalawo at the time, the king of the village, Osurjumanade Fumi, Ibabaitunu, and he did a divination on me. And, I can't remember the Odu that fell, but, he said, okay, we did a ball to Yemoja. Never forget it. He should Yemoja received a rooster of peace, baby. He said, go back and tell him you want to go. And I went back and I told them that I wanted to go. And they couldn't stop me from going. And I was on the first thing smoking out, going down to South Africa. Got down to South Africa. I remember flying into John Smuts Airport. And you could see all these, I didn't know what they were at first, all these mines. They were gold mines. And you land there and you see all these Israeli airplanes and Dutch airplanes and what have you. They were there getting the gold and the diamonds, taking them back to Israel, refining them, and then shipping them to New York. That's how that go. And that's how it's still going. But you got everybody in there now. Well, not everybody, but quite a few countries from all around the world, for the great mineral wealth of Africa. And South Africa is known for diamonds and gold, you see. So my experience there is what really, kind of put me on a nationalistic pathway, because I had to go to separate bathrooms, drink out of different water fountains. Didn't matter if I was a U.S. citizen. Didn't matter. If you couldn't pass the pencil test, which is you put a pencil in your hair, and if it doesn't fall out, if it sticks, you got African blood in you. You got to deal with the laws and the policies for African people. You see. So, in that experience of apartheid and all of the embarrassment and humiliation that went along with that experience, Nelson Mandela was still in jail at that time. I think the Steve Biko riots over Steve Biko's murder and all that was going on, but there's still a lot of tension. And so I had to be careful myself. So, but I remember I was at the airport, and one of the pilots on the airplane, he was in at the airport concession stand, and he didn't see me because, I'm only 5'5", so he's not going to see me walking down the aisle. And I remember him saying that, he said, the United States really supports your policies here. He said, but we have so many African Americans in our country that we can't publicly say anything. And that's when I realized that some of these European men who I respected, they have their own private opinions that they don't let you know. So I stopped trusting them. That same day, I met a brother from Soweto. He took me into Soweto, which would be considered the ghetto. They treated me so well. I spent like 3 days there. And the time for me to leave, I remember we took off. We were headed back from South Africa to Germany. I remember taking off and looking down, at around 3,000 feet, flying over Soweto and Johannesburg. And I said to myself, this is my home. And I'm going to do everything that I can to learn everything about Africa. So when I got back to Germany, I think it was like a 12-hour flight or something like that. Got back to Germany, I ran to the bookstore, tried to put my hands on anything about Africa, because I wasn't taught any of that in high school. I went to an all-boy Catholic high school. They didn't teach nothing about Africa. So the first book I found, Orisha Bemi, was African Religions and Philosophies by John Mbiti. And that book shifted my consciousness, you see. Then spirits start showing up. The ancestors start showing up in my house. My girlfriend was seeing them, and she was telling me about it. And I mean, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But that was right around the time that I got involved with Orisha tradition and Oyotunji. And I was there maybe, I think in Oyotunji, I was there for around 7 months before all hell broke loose. Hell broke loose, and I was accused of stealing the king's wife. How you steal a woman with 7 children? You don't do that. She wanted to go. And she was beautiful too. She was beautiful.
Shout out to Her Royal Majesty, the woman king.
Oh my God, that was one beautiful woman. Yes. Yes. And that's another show. I don't know how much time you got for that. You know what I'm saying? But that whole South Africa, that whole Oyotunji thing, everything was happening at the same time.
Yeah. Even the civil rights, because even shared stories with me about how Malcolm, like literally how the king, the Oba, him and Malcolm was real cool, man. Like some of the stories that y'all have shared with me is like, man, it's a godsend, literally to sit at. You talk about sitting at the foot of the elders or the masters. Like I give thanks every day for that, man, for real.
Yes. Yeah. So, that happened. And the next thing you know, I found myself, coming down Oyotunji after certain missions I would go and I built a house for my Egungun. I brought out my Egungun. That was a wonderful experience, And, matter of fact, I got in trouble. Let me stop. I guess I can say this. But anyway,
go ahead, man. Shoot, this is a grown folk show, man. We all grow up.
Yeah, I brought up my Egungun, and the Oba at that time, he was out of town. But all the queens were there, the Ayalas were there, and they came to the Egungun ceremony. And so something happened. It was like my future wife, the king's first wife, she dobalayed to my Egungun. So somebody reported her back to the king and said, well, the Afin, the queens of the Afin, the king's wives, they ain't supposed to dobalay to no commoners Egungun. So when he got back, he asked her, he said, well, why did you dobalay to Oguntolu's? At that time, I was Oluwole because I wasn't initiated to Ogun yet. Why did you dobalay to Oguntolu's Egungun? And she told him because they were real. She said they were real.
Look, just like she is.
Yeah.
Both of y'all for that matter.
I had no idea that I was going to fall in love with this woman. I had no idea.
That's that Yay Oshun, boy. That
Oshun took me. But when I got initiated to Ogun, finally, he came over to the shrine where I was, because Ogun, you get initiated outside. So you don't have like an enclosed area. It's like a hut. And it was kind of a chilly night. And we were sitting there talking. And I took my cover off of me and put it around her shoulders. Oh boy. That wasn't, I mean, other people would say that was a mistake. But the Ogun priests who were there, Baba Tenu, they got jealous and mad at me for doing that. But I did to me, I did the right thing. The woman was cold. I just sacrificed my cover to hers.
Honoring the mothers.
Baby, after that, thing started moving real fast. Next thing you know, I got out of my Yawo period, and I took them. She had a dance troupe, and they were going to Columbia, South Carolina. She said, "Well, Oguntolu, you gotta you got a station wagon. We can all fit in there. Can you take us? I said, sure. So we got in the car, drove up to Orangeburg, South Carolina, and they did the show, and we couldn't stop looking at each other. We looked at each other, Orisha baby, so much that somebody called the king in Miami and reported us that I was fraternizing with the king's wife. But I couldn't stop looking at her. I didn't touch her, nothing like that. I just was looking at her. So when we got back to the village, I had to, I was supposed to go on a mission. I was supposed to go to Europe. So I had to leave. And the Oshun Bumi, she's like, look, she said, we got to clean your car out before you go. I said, no, I ain't got time. And she said, look, don't worry. It won't take us long. They cleaned that car out. Orisha baby. Suddenly I heard something go click, 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 click. I turned around. I had 2 shotguns pointed at my head.
I think she told me some of this story too. It was
They said, you are under arrest in the name of the king. And they took me and held me behind the barracks until he came back. I was a prisoner. And I was like, oh God, if they find out that, you got this Air Force sergeant, prisoner down here and I got to go on a mission, that's going to be trouble. But anyway, he came, we kind of cleared some of that up. I had to pay a fine. She had to pay a fine, all that kind of stuff. And they released me and I made it. I made it back. I got on the plane just in time before it left. And my heart was broken because I knew my time in Oyotunji was finished. In my heart, I knew something was going to be saying. So when I got back to the States, I was heartbroken. I went into my room, in the barracks. I cried my heart out. And then something said, asked the ancestors a question. I picked up my 4 shells and I asked the ancestors, should I leave this woman alone? They said, oh, Yeku, no. They said, no.
That's divine destiny right there, Baba.
That's right. And that's what I did. I wiped the tears from my eyes on Orisha baby. I wiped the tears from my eyes. And I said, I'm going to get that woman. I said, I'm going to get her. I'm going to make her my woman. And that's what I did. It's like Ogun jumped in me. Ogun jumped in me and gave me courage. He gave me courage and said, no, you go and get that woman and all of her children. She had 7 children. That's right. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
All the magical things that happen in between, that's another show.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to write that in a book. But that's what I did, And she was a godsend to me. And she gave me a wonderful daughter as well.
Yeah.
And I raised all Ba's children and her other 2 children. What, 11 years? You see? And the relationship was still very cordial and loving to each other. A lot of respect there. That was a very important part of my life. Very important part of my life. But I was lucky because they was after me to kill my ass. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got death threats and everything for treason against the king. But I didn't care.
Listen, I just shared the link to the interview family where I had the queens, the Ilori, the daughters who Baba was talking about. I had them on here a while back. I got to see. Hopefully, I can get them back on here. But that was a powerful show, Baba. Because even with what I knew of you, and mind you, this was after we came back from Nigeria and Ghana. After I made Ifa. When I interviewed all of them, and it's like the stuff that they were sharing on that interview was profound because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know anything about you. But they were all given respect and homage about how dedicated you were to the tradition, to Ifa, how you were in the neighborhood, like you was, what I'm saying, like teaching people about Ifa, you were selling the jewelry and the bracelets, and what I'm saying, like you was just everything was all Ifa, all Orisha, all day, every day, to the point where they even said that at times they didn't like the fact that how strict you were or how hard you were on them in regard to honoring the tradition, but they said that they loved that you were that way because now it made them who and what they are now to cultivate and for them to cherish, and embrace you know, who and what we are. I'm, you know, say all of us in
Yeah,
regards
yeah.
to, you know,
Well,
the
I was a
foundation.
fanatic. I was a fanatic. That's
Yes,
what I
sir.
was. I was fanatic. We would go to the ancestors 3-4 times a day
Mm,
because my
mm,
antennas was up. My antennas was up because people was throwing shit at me.
mm,
I had all kinds of nightmares and Eguns coming at me and
mm-hmm,
demons.
mm-hmm.
And I had to fight them off.
Yeah.
I had to fight them because they was out to get me.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So
Mm-hmm.
it was a lonely road, but I was not alone because my ancestors was with me.
I say.
You know, as a matter of fact, it came out in my Odu. My first hand of Ifa, my Ifa hand of Ifa was a warring Oyeku.
Mm, mm.
And the Alba said, oh, you're a messenger of the ancestors. You're a warrior for the ancestors.
And I was going to ask you, so this clearly was before you got initiated into the Egun Society, right? Or no?
Oh, I didn't get initiated to the Egun Society until what, 2022,
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that
2023.
recently.
Yeah, I never did the Egun Society because I didn't know who to trust.
Wow. I didn't know it was that recently. I
Yeah,
thought you
no. I just got initiated to Egun. But what I did do in 2005, I got initiated into the Sangoma, the Zulu system.
okay. I
Yeah,
remember
so
you
I'm a
telling me that.
Sangoma. And
But
the
I didn't know
Zulu
that was
system,
before the,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, that
Wow.
was, oh, shoot. That was 25 years later.
Man, I was like, oh,
After
no,
I
you got
came into the
initiated
religion,
to the
yeah.
Egun back in Oyo
No,
Tunji. I thought that was
I
around the
just got
Ogun.
initiated. I just got initiated to a Gungun.
Wow.
2 years.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
that's
deep.
right. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Hmm.
look, the journey, man. It's about the journey. You do too. I'm sure you can tell some stories too.
Listen.
You know,
Listen.
so it's all about the journey. So that's why we get so annoyed when we go to Africa and they act like we newbies on the block.
Listen.
We done went through all kinds of shit over here.
Listen. Shout out to Oak. I don't know if he's still on the line, but I just see his brother, who I know personally that I rock with. He here in Florida, but we've known each other long before we both knew anything about E5. But I was talking to him about the situation when we was in Ilobu when they was turning up, like you know how they was acting. I'm like, Baba,
Yeah,
who was who and who was what? Because I need to know, because I'm about to let these know, like, man, don't play with me like that. Because yeah, you a
that's right.
Babalawo, yeah, you got rank and this, but as a man, I'm a man. And what we ain't finna do, you're not gonna come at me like that. Like we gonna get some
That's right.
training with that. Cause I don't move like that,
That's
bro.
right. That's
Like
right.
straight up. But I didn't want
That's
to
right.
disrespect you and your relationship, so that's why I came to you first to
Right.
find out,
Right.
you know, saying who was what and what was what. Because I gotta let these ninjas know, like, nah, we ain't doing that. We not doing
That's
that.
right. No,
Yes,
no.
sir.
And that's what I want, Africans on the continent in the tradition to realize that we want to come in droves, but you've got to change some stuff and your
Mm-hmm.
perception of how we are to be received and
Mm-hmm.
how we need to be treated because we're coming with love.
Right.
We're
That part.
coming for sacred rituals, so we don't want no foolishness.
Yep. Yep.
And we need them to respect that.
Yep.
And we'll
But
be respectful. We're already coming with love,
yeah. But
but
you know
don't
what I
take advantage of that.
But you know what I picked up from that though, that whole, and I even thought about it and meditated on it since we've been back, because I kind of try to travel back and replay that whole experience. But what I really feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, or agree with me if you feel the same way. But what I feel like is a lot of the and I'm gonna call it the F boy syndrome that I feel like that I was doing, we were dealing with, me and shout out to Adeyinka, but that we were dealing with. I feel like it was like those particular groups of owls or Ifa priests, Babalawos, whatever. I feel like they had some, like, the influence of the Western culture and society, like the hip hop and entertainment, all that BS. I feel like that kind of played a role into their psyche, as to, like, they felt like they had to kind of try to dominate us, or kind of, you know what I'm saying, like put us under some type of some
Yeah,
pressure to kind of show like they had that, you know what I'm saying, that motto, mafia mob mentality, whatever the case may be. I feel like that was influenced from the Western culture, not from the culture there
right,
in
right. No,
Nigeria
no,
or Ilobo. I
no,
feel like
not at
that
all. You're right.
from the
You're right.
foreign BS that kind of
Right,
infiltrated their mentality and mindset as to why they gave us that kind of energy. I really feel
right.
that way.
Yes, yes. I agree with that too. You know,
Yeah,
because like you said, the main owls, the elders, they were not
none of
like
that.
that. It was just
Mm-mm,
the younger
none of
one, you
that.
know,
Yep.
that had behaved in that way, you know, because we're coming, this is a sacred experience for us
Yes.
as
Yep.
Africans in the Western Hemisphere to come there, to go
Mm-hmm.
through this sacred ceremony. And
Yep.
we don't need that. I mean, we're not coming for that.
None of that.
So don't make us not want to come back.
Right. Yep.
You see? Please don't do that to us because we love it here.
I sure.
You see? So it look, like I said, I've been in issues on both sides of the water. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You know, when I was in Oshobo, I got initiated. Next thing you know, people accuse me of being a drug dealer. Now, why would I come to Oshobo to sell drugs when I could be in New York making millions of dollars selling drugs, and Oshobo's a little small town? Why would I be there to sell drugs in Oshobo?
Mm-mm.
And the thing is, people believed it.
Mm.
That's what hurt me.
Mm.
They believed it,
Mm.
causing a rift between me and my Oluo.
Mm. Yeah. What they say though, new levels, new devils, Baba. Like anytime you're working on anything to ascend to the next level or to reach some sort of some sort of success of accomplishment, it's always something that's going to try to rise up and try to combat you into
Yes,
making that. Hell, what happened
that's
with me before I was going over there? I feel like everything
yeah,
I've ever done of significance in my life, something tried to rise up at the very end towards the finish line and try to stop me, block me, or make me quit tonight, not move forward for whatever it was.
that's right.
Every time. And I'm like, y'all
That's right.
must don't know who this young brother is because
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
yeah,
out swinging.
yeah. That's right. Well, you know,
Really.
one of my my wonderful uh, partners, let me say,
Mhm.
she said, you know, she said, I love working with children and the elderly, but the people in between is a mess. You know what I'm saying? The people
Facts.
in between, if you between being a child and the elderly, is messy in between dealing with
Yep.
folk like that. You
Yep.
know, so this is why. Shout out to the office of Balogun
Mm.
Sango USA that we work with primary school students, we work with the children, and we work with people with disabilities. And we don't
Sure.
have no problem because they're always happy when we show up. They always are grateful for what
Yes.
we do for them.
I'm gonna
But
share that footage.
the people in between, you get all kinds of mess.
Yeah.
You know, when
Mhm.
you're trying to support grown people who can work for themselves and do for themselves, and they trying to take advantage of you or take
Mhm.
advantage of your kindness.
Yep.
So I'm through with that. I'm through with that stuff.
Yep.
So I just want to live the rest of my life working with children who
Mm.
are happy and appreciate and the most other vulnerable people in society, people with varying abilities or disabilities, as people say.
Mm.
Let's do that. Why not? You know the EME gonna support us then.
Yes, sir.
And anybody try to attack us or fight us then, they're gonna have to deal with the mothers, baby.
Yes, sir.
The mothers don't play when it comes to children.
No, sir. Look, and that's why I'm always declaring how proud I am of being a mama's boy because it ain't about me. It's about the ones who with me. So
That's
you can say
right.
what you want, do what you want.
That's
I ain't
right.
never gonna
Oh,
be He-Man or King Kong, but I know who I'm riding. I know who
baby.
I'm riding with. So you can
Look,
go ahead and mess with them if you want to. But I
yeah,
don't want none of it.
none of them. And you know the Iroke, you know, I wish I had one
I
with me
got mine
right
right
now.
here. I don't grab it.
You got it.
Yep.
There you go.
Yes,
You
sir.
got this. Okay. Let me put it up to the camera. Let me look at it so I can see what I'm looking at. There's a
What is it?
woman on there. There's a woman
I
on there.
believe so. It actually got breasts.
Yeah, that's right. That the Iroke explains the whole cosmology of the Yoruba system.
Mm.
The conical shape is Ori. The woman is how we come into this world. The woman is normally in a kneeling position, and often her hands are under her breast because the most sacred position that is that is acceptable to Olodumare, to the Creator, is a woman kneeling holding up her breasts naked.
Baba, I was just having this conversation. Oh my God, like within this week, and I couldn't remember who told me, like where I heard the story from. Brandon could tell you because I was talking to her, and I was like, I don't remember where I heard the story about. Like I know it was either one of the elders I was talking to or somewhere I read it about. Like we were talking about prayer, and I said the most powerful prayer is the prayer of a mother or of a woman in a certain position, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. So that was you who told me
That's
that.
it. That's the birth position. Women gave birth kneeling. They gave birth kneeling. So even today, if a woman comes up to you in Yoruba land or wherever, and she kneels down in front of you and she asks for your assistance, if you got it, you almost got to share it with her because you know it's serious.
Yes. Yes.
Because she's in the birth position. You see. So that Iroke is very, very deep in terms of its cosmology and what it expresses.
Wow.
Yes. So we, like I said, talking about the mothers again. That's how we get here. So if you're going to be cruel to women because you can, then that's a terrible mistake. Because she can destroy your destiny. And often, if you have, like you said, the importance of your relationship with your mother is so important because, if your mother's praying for you and she's a balanced, harmonious, peaceful soul, then she's got special powers. Then she can block all the other crazy women that's trying to mess you up because you decided to leave their ass.
Yes, sir. That's real. And the grandmothers too. Because look,
because sometimes the women want all of you. You say they want you so much that you can't do nothing without them.
What did Abdul say, Baba?
Oh God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me
You say it. You say it. I ain't gonna say it. I'm already saying
it. We'll get to that note.
No. Abdul said, my mother didn't give birth to me for you. That's what he said. My mother did not give birth to me for you. So when you deal with this ultra possessiveness that some women have, not all of it, it's like everybody wants something from the black man.
Yeah.
Everybody. So if now you have your woman, she wants you, but she wants all of your time, all of your attention, everything. And you came here to fulfill your destiny. That's the most important thing, is your purpose in life. Yeah, marriage is fine, all that, but you didn't come to this world to get married. You came to this world to express your qualities and to live your purpose. So you can't let nobody hijack that, not even your woman or your wife. You can't let them hijack that. And vice versa. Women have things to do too, of course. And I'm not trying to say anything negative about that.
Like that too. It's
but the thing is, men, we have to lead. We can't build a nation if the women are leading.
Has to be balanced.
The men, we've got to lead. So we got to start behaving that way.
Yeah, because women ain't gonna follow a man they don't respect, and that's fact.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fact.
So all those things are in line with us trying to make a better world. Is actually handling our roles, our human roles, our gender roles properly.
Yes, sir.
So we can get the best. Every nation that handles that properly is really growing. They're more stable. The children are more balanced, and what have you. You see, that's really, really important. But in America, everything's abnormal in America.
Oh yeah,
they say it's dangerous trying to be normal in an abnormal society.
Yes, that's facts.
That's why we got to prepare ourselves to get out of here.
That's facts, because
or at least have dual citizenship. You see, and have a place in Africa or wherever you decide to be. America is not. America is not a wonderful place for us. And sometimes, other places don't have to be wonderful either, but we got to really try our best to bridge the gap between, Africans here in the Western Hemisphere and Africans on the continent, because we've got wonderful people in both hemispheres.
Yeah.
But we cannot, we got to bridge the gap, as well as, teach our brothers and sisters on the continent how to treat us, because some of them don't know.
Yeah. And that me personally, you've been to way more places and countries on the continent than I have, but I only experienced it in Nigeria, and I didn't experience any of that in Ghana. Ghana was love. It was dope. It was nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say it wasn't no little sideways, little F boy energy, because that's impossible. But for the most part though, Ghana was it was dope. I didn't really get none of that BS.
Yeah.
It was dope.
That's right. That's right. Well, I was told by a Ghanaian, several Ghanaians have told me, men and women, that Ghanaians they don't like to see blood.
I can tell. I mean, I can see that. Because
they don't like to see blood.
It was love. It was, you know what I'm saying? It was just a whole nother vibe and energy from nothing against Nigeria, because there's so much sacred, history and historical places.
Oh yeah.
All that traditional.
Nigeria has a war history. It's a war history in Nigeria. When I got that book, the Balogun and Yoruba history, they were fighting each other like crazy. Ibadan is a refugee city, one of the biggest cities in Africa, because people was running from war.
That's the first one we stopped there when we got there. Matter of fact, I didn't even know that Sade was born there, Baba.
Oh, okay.
The singer
the musician, right? The singer.
Yeah. I was so blown. I don't know how I looked that up, but I was talking about something, and she came up, and I'm like, somebody, I think it might have been my mom's actually that told me that I think she was Nigerian. I was like, for real? She's like, yeah. I looked it up, and sure enough, I'll be damned, she was born in Ibadan. I was like, that's the very first place we stopped after y'all picked me up from the airport, was in Ibadan. Remember we got the fabric and the
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I was like, that's dope.
Right. Yes, yes. So it's been wars, all kinds of wars, inter-ethnic wars in Yoruba land, and that fed the slave trade and everything else. You know what I'm saying? So in some ways, all that's true, and I know it. Look, I've met people in Ghana who, would tell me that the certain ethnic, certain tribe or a certain village that was close to theirs had sold their ancestors, 100 years ago. They still remember that stuff. So the tensions are still there, the tensions between, different ethnic groups, and, it's like the people in Chicago, the black people in Chicago don't like the black people in New York, that kind of thing, or they got some sort of history because of fighting each other, what have you, and the tensions are still underneath. But, the younger generation that's coming up, because we know that, the African population now is like, most of the population really is like under 25 and younger, so they don't have the memory of a lot of the older people. So it's bound to change, just like you have the new leader with it, Torre in Burkina Faso. What I'm saying, he's a young man,
like 20. I don't think he's in his 30s yet, is he?
Maybe he's in his 30s. Yeah, I think he's like between 34, 37, somewhere around there. Okay. But he's a very, very young man. But, he's the youngest president on the continent, but he has the vision. Now, it's probably he's got wonderful advisors around him.
Has to.
He has to.
I'm sure he got a heavenly host of elders, man.
He got some elders.
Brilliant.
He got big time spiritualists around him that can see. He got all this going on. Because in Africa, I don't care if you're a Muslim, you're working with the spirits. If you're a Christian, you're working with the spirits. If you're a traditionalist, you're working with the spirits.
Facts.
That's what they do over there. Everybody can see. There's a lot of people can see over there, and they ain't got to be throwing no oracle or doing nothing.
No.
Them Egun speak to you, baby.
That's fact.
They speak to you.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, Baba, before I forget too, shout out to brother Nkosi. He was asking the question earlier in regards to when you were doing the divination and the clients, ex or whoever it was that was in the ancestral realm came to sit with Ifa. So Nkosi wanted to know, did Ifa answer? Did you ask the question for the brother who came that was in the spirit world, or did you not ask the question?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. He had a question. He had a question. That he wanted to ask Ifa. So he told the woman who was sitting there, and the woman told me what he wanted to know.
Wow.
So I asked Ifa about it. Now I never had that happen before. That was the first time.
That's deep. Listen,
oh my God,
that's deep, man.
Really interesting. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So I think one of the deep experiences that I remember was, a client came to me, and the client, it was clear that the client had, somebody had did some very negative things to him. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing was, of course, because, you don't really want to tell the world what happens in your divination for other people. Yeah. But the thing was that somebody had put something on his body, or he drank something or ate something, and all of his skin, when he rolled up his sleeves and rolled up his pants and everything, lifted up the back of his shirt, all his skin was snake skin. His skin was turning into a snake skin. And I told him, I said, look, man, this is above my pay grade.
I got to send you up to the next level. I know that's right.
You got to go to Haiti. You got to go to Africa. You got to go somewhere. But he was from one of the islands.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So they got that kind of magic down there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But whatever he had, somebody got him by putting something in his mouth. He ate something for that to happen. Yeah, all of his skin was turned into snake skin. I mean, for real.
Oh, I believe. Listen,
that blew my mind. I said, "Oh, let me slow down a little bit."
I don't know if you remember, but I remember I had a little situation when we was over there that where I saw some stuff too. So yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah, and the healing is real. We had a guy this guy was bleeding profusely out of his anus.
You talking about recently over in Lagos?
Yeah.
You telling me about that? Yeah, you told me that story, man.
Bleeding profusely out of his anus. He was laying the robber, the yellow day. She's a nurse. A lot of years of experience. She was like, "Oh, we got to call the doctor right now. Call the hospital. Get an ambulance right now." And the robber coolly looked at her and said, "I got this." He said, "I got this."
You can tell me about this story.
And whatever he did, in 15 minutes, that boy was sitting up straight, no more blood. Whatever he did it, boy.
That's
and I said, "Praise Orumila."
Yes, sir. Because he said he was about to transition. That's how bad he was.
Yeah, it was that bad.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about that since y'all been back. This was recently he told me that story. So I know.
Yes. That was something that we all witnessed right there. And so that way I said, okay, well, this man is real. He comes from a family of as a matter of fact, his family is from Ilobu.
Well, you said his brother was my
that's one of his kinfolk. You know what I'm saying? So it's some really fantastic babalawos in Africa. And they have all kinds of knowledge. But some of them don't know how to treat us. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem, you got to treat us better. Don't look at us as an ATM machine.
Right.
We coming home. We coming home. We want to learn and exchange. But we are exchanging. We're exchanging our money for your knowledge. So you better treat us fairly, else we will draw our money, baby.
No, that's right. That's facts.
So it's time for that. It's time for that conversation.
Yeah.
And we as elders have to have that conversation with the elders over there and say, hey, come on now, we got to do better. If you want Isheshe to grow in a way where we can reconnect and bring about a certain reputation that's needed and stop being fish in a well that's swimming around in a circle? We want things, it's time for us to make an impact on the world through activity, political, economic, social, and we have the power. We can do it. We just got to pull the trigger. We just got to pull the trigger. What are we scared of?
Not a damn
What are
thing
we scared of? You say, oh, no, we can't trust. Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of people you can't trust. So if you can't trust it, you do it. You take the lead. And the people will see you leading by your example, and they will eventually jump on that moving train, baby.
Yes, sir.
But it's our fault. If we wait for somebody else to do what we know needs to be done, that's our fault.
Yeah.
That's our fault.
Yeah, that's facts. I got one more question too from the tribe, Baba.
Yeah.
The question was, hold on, let me find it again. Okay, what and Kosi said, can you touch back on the Akashic Records? I guess he was saying, like, in regards with earlier when you were saying, like, the ability for us to kind of tap into energy or, you know, frequency in regards to
yeah. Well, I wish Astarius was here. He could tell that better than me. But I know what I was taught that the Akashic Records are, you know, the information like in, you know, like you have the cloud, you know, and you can tap into the cloud. It's supposed to exist somewhere between the etheric realm and the astral realm. You know, it's like atoms jump in and out of the etheric web to the astral world, jumping in and out. And so all information is stored there. That's why you can dream about something or even divine about something that hasn't happened yet. Because you pulling information out of the etheric world, maybe we are in the matrix. You see? Why are you finding something out about something that hasn't even happened in your own reality yet? Something very mysterious about that.
Yeah.
You know? Very mysterious about that. That you can divide and tell somebody, oh, this, and it happens. Even before you get there.
Listen. And listen, and Kosi, I got a lot that I'm gonna be sharing with that too, and Kosi, because this book is a powerful piece of work. It's called 9 Ether Re-Engineering by African Creation Energy. Very powerful. They got a whole series of books, man, that it goes into. It's dope. It goes into like all African spirituality. It focuses primarily on the Kemetic metaphysics space, but it also it talks about everything. It's powerful. And I'm gonna be sharing like creating like training videos or tutorial type videos, sharing a lot of that information too. But
good, yeah.
With that, but the fact that we're talking about that, right? And we're talking about like the being able to pull energy from spirit and divination and all that. That's one of the number one things that I do for people, especially like the new people or new clients that get referred to me in regards to divination. Sometimes they want to give me some sort of heads up, or they want to give me like some sort of information. I'm like, I don't want anything. I don't want you to tell me nothing. I don't want to know nothing, because I want you to know that how real, the message is, how real the oracle is. So that way, as soon as I dive in, you know what it is, because you know it relates to whatever's going on. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't want no heads up. I don't want none of that, because Orimila going to tell me what it is, or he's going to tell you what it is through me. So I'm not even, what I'm saying? I don't even really, I don't want to ask them not to tell me, because I'd rather Orimila tell me whatever it is that I need to tell them. And that's how powerful the oracle is. It's profound.
Yes, that's how it is. It's very powerful. As a matter of fact, when I was in Ghana, I dealt with an Okonfo, the Akan traditional priest. I dealt with the Voodoo, because they have a town there. I think it's called Nokoko, which means something about like be quiet, something like that. But Benin is not too far from the eastern Ghana, borderline. You got Togo, then you have Benin. So you have people of the Voodoo tradition there too. And so you watch these priests, but the gods come. They get possessed by the deity.
Mm.
And they divine that way. They may use an oracle too to like, to assist them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, when them gods come,
It's real.
and you see them come, and when they speak,
It's real.
you already know it's real. And they don't always use an oracle right away. They may use an oracle somewhere in the process.
Mm-hmm.
But I am very impressed with what I've seen in Ghana.
Oh yeah.
They ain't doing Ifa as a system,
Mm-hmm.
but the Ifa is there. I think they call it Fa there or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But all these other African systems are valid.
And they're all related.
Powerful. It's like we have to acknowledge the Pan-African aspect of spirituality.
Yes, sir.
And not say, oh, well, you're not Ifa, you can't tell me that. Shoot, boy, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Africans have developed because of our intuition, and we're non-ether beings, as it says, right? Something like that.
Sir. Yeah, that's exactly what it says. Yeah.
But that also exists all over the world. It's not like, because if everybody comes from that single African mother, then because I've met people of all ethnicities that they're like crystal balls. They can see a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, listen, we got a shout out to Milagros Wellness Sanctuary. She's a Reiki healer. She's been on the podcast like 2 or 3 times, but when she does my Reiki healing sessions, she don't use no oracle. She don't use nothing. And I'm telling you, when I tell you, like, her readings or divinations be so on point, to the point where one time my grandmother came to one of my sessions, Baba, and after it was over with, she said, "Yeah, you had some ancestors here, and one of them, she spoke very clearly. She's like, and what's her name?" And she said her name to me, Baba. I'm like, "Oh my God,
that's right."
Like she got
that's
power.
Right, baby.
Talking about
that's
like
right.
her kid.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
she didn't use no tools. She just
no tools. That's why it's important, once again, for us to really work on ourselves on a soul level, on a cellular level, where we can become so sincere and have so much integrity, spiritual integrity, that you don't have to be worried about people looking through you and seeing through you, because they can. They can. There are many of them that can. They can see if you're not who you say you are, or you know what I'm saying. They already know.
The young people call it capping. If you over there, if you out there capping, that's what the young people say. That's cap.
That's right. And look, not only that, all of us, we want to be worthy of any blessing or any reciprocity that the deities are giving us. We want to burn off this karma. That's why one of the things that I love using is visualization. So I often, when I'm in the room, or when I'm divining, or when I'm praying, or when I'm walking, doing my 5 miles a day that I'm trying to do, when I'm doing that, I visualize my body full of light. I mean, the brightest light, like 1,000,000 LEDs within. And sometimes I'll see a flame within my heart, from my root chakra to my throat chakra. I'll see a giant flame inside my body. And nobody's going to tell me that it's not burning up my karma. It's not burning up negative energy within me. If you practice long enough, you'll get results. You'll know it. You'll feel it. Because once again, if there's anything that's to be remembered from this podcast, is that the greatest success in your life is how you feel. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a feeling of peace, harmony, and balance within ourselves. And Bar may not get you there. You've got to get yourself there. That is the Bar. That's the sacrifice. You sacrifice your animal instincts within you. You're sacrificing the animal instincts within you for celestial celestial qualities and experience.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So as we've talked about before, I think I mentioned before, we are hoping to encourage people who are practicing African spirituality in whatever mode to move toward, pitching yourself in, being pitched in. And, of course, we're doing an Ifa meditation temple. We're working on that now as we speak, where we're going to, use that process, because a lot of people don't have to meditate, because a lot of people already know how to go in. The meditation is just a process to get in. But once you know how to get in, you don't need to meditate at all. Because if you remember that blissful feeling, then you can go right to it. And it was Oshun that gave me that first blissful feeling before I even knew anything about scientific meditation. I realized, I said, oh, Oshun showed me this. Oshun had me experience this many years ago, right after my Ifa initiation.
Speaking of Oshun, I wanted so she oof, boy, she been ever present around me. And the amazing part about it, I didn't realize, I wasn't thinking about it, that your mother and Baba carried his mother's Oshun too. The other night I was doing Oshe Ifa, and I was telling him on the live last night, I promise you, like literally as I was opening up to appease Oshun, I'm ringing my bell, he texted me and my phone lit up. I'm like, yo, that's nuts. Because mind you, me and him been talking about how influential she's been in both, with both of us, off air, off the podcast. And it's like the fact that I was just getting ready to, like, literally to give her my offering, in reverence on Oshe Ifa, or on her day too, but in honor of Oshe Ifa. And then he texted me, I'm like, yo, that's nuts. But I'll tell you another thing. When we were over there and we were at the Grove, and the whole thing was magical. Like, it was a phenomenal experience I'll never forget. It was beautiful. But I'm gonna tell you where I almost lost my ish is when I went to gather the bag. I got like 2 or 3 bags of sand. So I remember I was gonna fill up the water bottles to bring the water back from the river. But you was like, get you some water, but don't get too much, because you ain't gonna be able to bring a lot on the plane. But what you want to do is get the sand, because when you get the sand, you can take an empty water bottle, put the sand in there, and then now you regenerate, or reinvigorate the actual, the recreate the water aspects, because it has the nutrients and all the elements of the river. Yeah. And when I did that, I'm telling you, and even now with the bags that I have here, when I deal with that sand, Baba, her fragrance is still in the sand. I don't know if you remember me telling you, or me saying, like, how shocked I was about that, but Adeyinka was by me and he was like 6, 7 feet away from me now. And mind you, I'm digging up, I'm scooping up the sand, scooping it up, putting it in the bag to bring back home. And he looked at me, he was like, Jagoon, is that the sand that smell like that? I'm like, bruh. I said, I was about to ask, bro. I said, I'm amazed. I was blown away. I've never in my life even could imagine that sand could actually have a fragrance. But her sand grove, it has a magical fragrance about that.
Magical. There was a wonderful statement by one of the great teachers, and he said, anything that you give energy to becomes activated in the spiritual world. And I think he was talking about how, human beings have created the gods in some way, or created the deities. And so when you give energy to the deities, then, they become active in that particular environment, and other places too that they're called on. So the Oshun Grove is where people have gone for untold centuries to pray and seek Oshun's assistance. So that energy is there. That energy is set up there. So if you're collecting something from that environment where people go on a regular, asking Oshun for children, for harmony, for marriage, for all these wonderful things that all of us human beings desire. These are noble desires. You don't go to Oshun and ask her to, buy you a new car, get you a new car. I mean, you can, but I mean, those are not the things that people go to the Grove for. You go to the Grove for noble desires, things that are going to improve the quality of your spiritual life, or your spiritual growth, or your happiness and your joy. This is something that we're all looking for, because there's one thing that's higher than love, and that's joy. And a shout out to Ayomi, my joy. So once again, like you said, this is a wonderful opportunity to express ourselves. And I've got some other spiritual stories that I wanted to tell, but we'll be on for 3-4 hours. I can't do that. I can't do that, because I know you got to do what you got to do.
Well, no, look, we running back, man. Look, I holler at you off air, man. Let me know. Listen, you know me.
Okay. All right.
I'm all for it, and the tribe love it too. Like I'm seeing in the comments, like they like, yo, between last night's live and this night's live, somebody was like, man, I don't know if they said they run out of ink or running out of pages in notebook or something like that. Long story short, they loving it, and I'm loving it. So we here for it, man, for real.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Oshun is joy. She's laughter. She's kindness. She's sweetness. She's treating people well, as well as treating yourself well. Now, I got to get better at that.
You and me both.
I got to get better than that. But it's something that was this. Brother Yaki, the Dr. Yaki.
Sounds familiar. That name sounds.
He's on YouTube a lot. Yeah,
he's like into like the metaphysical, the food and the diet. And,
yes.
I know his work. Yes.
Yes. And Oshun also talks about what's happening in your mouth.
Yes, and in our bodies.
Your teeth, your gums. And he said, why do you think the slave buyers, before they would buy a slave, they would look inside your mouth to see what's going on in your mouth? They could determine by looking at your teeth your longevity.
Yes, that's facts. That is facts.
So I just want to throw that out there. Take care of your mouth, good people.
Take care of everything.
Take care of your mouth first and foremost, because that's where the food enters, right there.
Yeah. I've heard of people getting infections, unfortunately.
It's heart disease, and all these other problems are hooked to the mouth.
Yes.
And the teeth and the gums. If you've got sickness there, get it taken care of. Try to go to a holistic dentist if you can. That's what Dr. Yaki said. And avoid, some of us still got mercury in our mouth from fillings years ago.
Yep.
Take care of your teeth, take care of your mouth. That's an Oshun thing right there.
Yes, sir.
And that will help us, because we have to have longevity. If you came to this world for a purpose, you want to live long enough to fulfill as much of that purpose that you can in good health and decent health.
Sure.
You see? All right, I'm done.
Listen, I'm gonna holler at you, Baba, because like I said, I definitely want to do it again, man, and run it back. It's been amazing, and I give thanks. I was telling Baba Karade last night. As a matter of fact, speaking of him, I was telling him last night because he was sharing a testimonial that he received. I forgot on what platform, but from from someone who's I guess been impacted by his work, and it touched him. And I'm like, and I listened to him, and it's funny because we talked about it off air, but then we talked about it on air too. And then when he finished, I was like, Baba, I said, and I'm gonna quote Professor Kaba with that, but I was like, Baba, I'm surprised that you're surprised, to hear that. But at the same time, it's like, he's a very humble brother, just like you are. Like y'all are, hell, yeah, too. Like y'all got crowns, y'all got titles, like, and y'all have a very significant body of work that you've contributed to this culture that is monumental. I'm talking about Mount Rushmore in America, Mount Rushmore monumental, and dare I say, damn it, the globe, because I'm biased because that's my lineage. So with that, I'm saying that's like the Mount Rushmore in my eyes, and it's like for me knowing how much and how impactful his work is from my own perspective, but also all the people who I know that's in the tradition, new or old, I'm like that. I'm not surprised by that. Like you earned that, and same thing with you. Same thing with It's like, so for me, I take so much tremendous pride in doing this work, man. It's like, like you said earlier, everybody's not in it for the right reasons. Everybody doesn't do the right things, and everybody's not striving for Iwa Pele. So it is, hating, jealousy, animosity, all that bullshit or whatever. But I don't care about none of that, because it doesn't stop me from doing what I love to do, and also knowing that I feel committed and obligated to the teachers who paved the way. So I have this internal joke or phrase that I say to myself or people who are close with me, where I'm like, the people who don't like what I do or like what I say or who's not cool with how I move or what I do, I'm not worried about that. And I'm not going to even come for you to try to get no straight and none of that, because my thing is this: don't come at me. You need to holler at my teachers. And you're not gonna have your way with not one of them, let alone all of them. So it's like, it's not about, any of that, because every single person who I look up to and who I admire their work ethic, and all the things that they do. And then I think for me, like the number one thing that really, really takes it to the highest level for me is like the fact that the humility aspect, like knowing and contributing and doing it strictly and sheerly for the love. Like even the episode that I shared with the queens, with the IJ of the temple, your daughters, when I had them all here, and it was your daughter who said about Yeye, like she does this for the love. Like she really believes in this. She believes in Orisha. She believes in Ifa. Like this ain't no, you know what I'm saying? This ain't no facade. Like she really believes this. Like, and I'm like, man, listen. But I know that because I've learned and I've been blessed to be, taught by y'all. And it's like, that's a real thing. And I feel like to see people who do it the way y'all do it, and y'all do it for the love, and you do it for the culture, you know what I'm saying? And you don't put yourself on a pedestal to look down on, or, as if you're above anybody. That's what I admire the most. That's what I respect the most. And that's what I love the most, because y'all are a shining example of what and who we should be, or what we should strive to be in regards to us, united we stand, divided we fall, moving together as a unit and as a culture. And there's so many other people who's doing it a different way, because they want to be the person who's above the rest and the person who is higher than the most, you know what I'm saying? Or flashy, all that, whatever that bullshit is. But that's what I appreciate the most about you, about Baba Karade, and all the other elders that we've been blessed to have on this channel, is that everybody does it for the sheer love and for the embedment and the upliftment empowerment of.
Well, we're in the evening of our lives. We're supposed to do this. It's our duty. And it's easier once you get older. Look, I'd have made countless mistakes on the way. Things that I wish I had never did, or things that I didn't have insight. Maybe I didn't know I was making a bad decision, but my intention was good, but the decision was bad. And that often happens in life. You can have all the good intentions in the world, and things can go left. You know what I'm saying? It don't turn out well. You have all kinds of misunderstandings and what have you. But thank God, if Olo Rune gives us a chance, Olo Dumare gives us a chance to live long enough to kind of, streamline that, become better at it. So a wonderful person at 45 is going to be a super wonderful person at 65. You see? So you're going to change, and you're going to grow, and you're going to expand, and you're going to elevate as your journey continues. And you want to do that every day of your life that you're fortunate enough to have. And then you leave the body, and it'll continue on the next plane, in some way. But yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's been a while since I've done this, and we pray that we ask people to support the office of the Balogun Sango USA. We are doing programs and projects for people with disabilities in Ghana at the Accra Rehabilitation Center, which was established by Kwame Nkrumah. It's a boarding school, and we're raising funds for all of the departments: cosmetology department, shoemaking and leatherwork department, art department, beadwork, furniture making, all the different departments that they have. You got blind people sewing clothes, blind people doing intricate beading work. So we are asking for your support. We should be up now. It should be on our website. Our website is up now. Just go to Office of the Balogun Sango USA, and you can see what we're doing. And I think we have a PayPal set up now where you can make donations. It could be $5. It could be anything. But our money goes a long way on the continent. And then, of course, the scholarship program in Nigeria for the Isheshe school in Ejibo, the only Isheshe school in all of Osun State. And daggone well, they need to have more. And they, so we're proud to come and contribute to the lives of these children who learn the curriculum and Ifa, boys and girls, 4 years to 7, 8 years old. They don't have a bathroom. It's 62 children in the school and there's no toilets. So we need to bore a hole and dig a well so they have water on that school site. Come on, help us. Help yourself. We can do this together. This is not the office project. This is all of our project. And we need to do that. If you having issues with the EIME causing you problems, then hey, do this work and the EIME will support you because they love children. Let's take care of the children and the most vulnerable people in society. Okay.
I should. And shout out to all the children of the Ifa School of Ejibo. I had a phenomenal time, and I'm gonna share that. Excuse me, I'm gonna share some of that footage too with the tribe. But shout out to Mr. Adebayo, man. Listen, I was just talking about him recently too, the blind genius. Who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody recently, and we were talking about, and you remember this, man, and it was like, dang, well, I can't remember who I was talking to. I'm getting mad, I can't remember. Anyways, we were talking about when we first got to his house, when we was there, and I remember walking in, and mind you, we had spoke on the phone, I don't know how many times, several times before then, but that was my first time meeting him in person, him and his family, and we shook hands. I remember shaking hands and hugging him, and then after, we finished embracing, he was like, Orisha, baby, how tall are you? Are you 6'2"? And are you? I was like, man, he said how tall I was, what size shoe I wore. And he's like, do you play basketball, Orisha, baby? I'm like, yo, I looked at all y'all, my mouth hit the floor. I'm like, what? It blew my mind, Baba. Like, I was just like, yo, this is nuts. Because it's not like I didn't know he was blind. I knew that. But the fact that I spoke to him and I meet him and he sized me up like he looking dead at me, like that rocked me. It rocked my world in a positive way. But in hindsight, I've thought about that and meditated on it too. And what happens is when we lose one of the senses or one of them is taken away from us, and a lot of people probably already know this too, but the rest of the senses become a lot more empowered and a lot more magnified and heightened. So what I feel like Spirit spoke on my heart and within me after that experience, after meditating on it for a while, was that his physical eyes might not be able to see, but that don't have anything to do with his third eye. And that goes back to what I ended the call last night with too, about the body being the Ori. So it's like that's the significance and the power of not just Ori and energy and Ifa and Isheshe, but in spirit, but it really is the significance of, I feel like, the power of the creator, because he couldn't see with his physical eyes, but he could see with his third eye and his mind's eye. And I feel like that's how like Ifa or any of the oracles do when they're able to like put together the message that there's no possible way the messenger would have known that message unless there was a supernatural or superior energy or entity or frequency at play. And that's what we are, and that's what we are children of. And that's what, I think I give thanks to the creator for you bringing, that ashe and that wisdom here today, man. We give thanks to you, Baba. Appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, one more note, if I could. The Three Good Heart Foundation's name has been changed to Aredu Trust Foundation.
How you spell that, Baba?
Aredu. Aredu Trust Foundation. It was just changed within the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks total. Yes. Okay, and Redu has to deal with Adire, and the different types of traditional cloth that people make. I can explain it to you later, but that's the name. So it still shows up, I think, at Three Good Heart on the website. But Redu Trust Foundation is the new name. That's the name of the NGO that I'm the co-founder of. Adebayo's the co-founder, and Abdul Sani is the co-founder. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. All right. Well, look, I got to go to bed. So I don't want to be up all night. I got to go to sleep. Listen, I got to get my rest. That's my Odu. And next time we'll discuss that Odu in Rete Otura.
Listen,
That's my
you sound
Odu
like
Ifa.
Professor
And
Smalls,
what's so
boy.
funny, in Retio Tura is the reading for the world that came out of Oyotunji.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you
Retio
did tell me
Tura.
about that.
Yeah.
I think you talked about that a few weeks ago when
Yeah,
we
I
talked.
watched it on Let's Talk Ifa, the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched it on. I watched the reading of the world, the reading of the year for African Americans, and also I think it was another reading as well. Yeah, so I support those young men. They're doing a fantastic job
Yes,
as
sir.
well. But yeah, that was my Odu. I said, oh my God, okay.
I remember when you told me that. And you know what? And I'm gonna give them a shout out too, because it's funny. I actually was watching one of their shows Saturday, I think. I forgot the doggone title of this particular show, but it was dope though, because they was talking about, and that's something me and Baba Karade have talked about before, but they was talking about like the significance of keeping your shrines clean and like, you know, and like not get too, I think, like caught up in like having to feel like you have to do every single O'Shea day. You know, it was just a dope conversation. But
Oh yeah,
shout out to them brothers too, man. I love to see people
yeah.
who's
You
doing.
will like that. Maybe you can call them, see if you can interview them.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to set that up because I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you. Shout out to matter of fact, shout out to Adeyemi. He actually told me a while back. He was like, "Yo, I watched their channel. Their channel is dope." He was like, and you know, of course, y'all ride with you. Like, man, y'all, you need to see. I need to see if I can set y'all up. You know, maybe y'all can do something together.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
yeah,
That's right.
you know,
Yeah,
I'm all for it. But
yeah.
collaboration,
Let's collaborate more.
collaboration over competition,
Collaborate
man.
more. Yeah, and also you have your program with Dr. Smalls on the 16th. Is it the
Yes.
16th or the 17th?
Yeah, no, that's the 16th. I'm glad you said that. So
In
yeah, we got the
Jacksonville?
yep. Shout out to St. Kofa 360 720. Shout out to brother Umar. Matter of fact, I was talking with him today. Yeah, we got the Baba Smalls event coming up next Sunday, family, which is February 16th at 1 p.m. in Jacksonville, Florida. Matter of fact, that link is on the channel for sure. So if you look at the link on the homepage of Ashe and on the website AfricanSpiritualityExperience.com, you'll be able to get that the tickets for that if you want to come in person. And if you want to watch the replay, I'll be setting up the link for that as well. I wanted to get to it last night, but I had work to do after the podcast. But tomorrow I had a link for the replay as well. So if you can make it in person, those links are already up, you know, for you to get your tickets to come in person. And if you want to get the replay, I'll have that link up for everybody tomorrow, man. And then shout out to Baba Karade as well, because we're launching the OGC Institute tomorrow. We're going that the first call will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Baba and we've been putting in a lot of work to make this happen. So we're extremely excited about that. And so, yeah, family, we appreciate the love, the support. It's been nothing but love and support from the tribe, from the channel, and, you know, for a lot of people from a lot of places, just showing love. So we appreciate you. And we appreciate you, Balogun Sango, man. I definitely appreciate it, Baba. You know, I love building and chopping it up and just sitting at the feet of the masses, man. So I give thanks to you, Mudupoe, Baba.
Otokwe, Ashe.
Ashe. All right, family. So yeah, that's another episode. Did you have anything else? My bad. Did you have anything else, Baba?
No, I'm finished.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's another live stream episode of the African Spirituality Experience, family. We definitely appreciate all of y'all. We appreciate the love and support. And yeah, we'll be back I'm pretty sure we'll be back in a couple of days, because yeah, we're gonna try to run Baba down and see can we make this happen again. Y'all said run it back, so we're gonna run it back. So with that, family, we appreciate y'all. Please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next episode. We out. Peace.
Peace. Odabo.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé egun mo ṣe nígbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your.